Kenya to Colombia, from Iraq to Korea, in slums, in schools, in prisons, and in theatres. Every day, people gather at TEDx events around the world to hear the best ideas bubbling up in their communities. Today, you are part of a global conversation about our shared future. So what is this TEDx? TEDx is an initiative of the TED Conference, a non-profit devoted to ideas worth spreading. We grant free licenses to allow TED-like events to spread globally. This event today is based on the TED Conference format and ideals, but is independently organized by your local community. So please make sure to thank the team of volunteers who worked so hard on today's event. It's their ideas, dedication, and time that made it all possible. It's they who booked all the speakers, and the views you'll hear today are, of course, those of those speakers, not necessarily of TEDs. But we hope their talks spark an exciting conversation among you. This is a day for curiosity and for skepticism, for openness and for critical thinking, for inspiration and for action. The more you enter into it, the more you'll take out. And now, on with the show.
Good morning. Oh, that was anticlimactic. Wait. Do it again. I expect a round of applause. Would you please welcome to the stage your host for the day, Emma Holmes. Right. That's better. We'll practice that later. Hey, hello, welcome. Welcome to TEDxWageningen University. I'm going to be your host for the day. You'll be seeing a lot of me. Lucky you, overall. Before we start, before we get into all the fun stuff, we have some house rules. I came with a paper because I tend to forget them. So, are you ready for the house rules? Oh, overwhelming excitement here. So first of all, would you please turn off your mobile phones? They're all like, oh, he came prepared. Oh, excellent work. Turn off your mobile phones, and that includes vibration. No vibrations allowed either. Apparently that can also interfere with theater equipment, something I did not know. But there we are. No drinks or snacks are allowed in the main room, except for water in closed bottles. So no open bottles. You're not allowed to walk in with it open. It's too dangerous. Smoking is not allowed either. One would like to think that's self-evident, but you never know. Smokers are allowed, e-cigarettes included. It's not permitted to bring your own drink into the theater. How does the closed water bottles work then? You just have, no, this is getting confusing. Hot drinks and snacks will be provided during the breaks. You have also access to the theater cafe, where a broader range of product is available but not included in the price of the ticket. Please note that alcohol cannot be served to visitors under the age of 18. Anyone here under 18? Excellent, drinks for everyone. How exciting. All right, ladies and gentlemen, before we do the whole warm-up thing and so on, we're going to have a little opening speech by two very important people to this event. So we're going to have, we'll just invite them to the stage immediately. Would you please welcome to the stage the chairman and founder of TEDxWageningen University. Would you please welcome Michel Voskamp.
Hey guys, thank you all for coming. I'll slightly move this way because I have a piece of paper. My name is Michel Voskamp, and I'm a student and organizer of TEDxWageningen University. I only have 3 things to say, so I'll keep it short, so we can have the real speakers come to the stage. Firstly, because of unforeseen circumstances, one of our speakers, Eddie Wijnker, is unable to come today. We wish him a warm heart, and we thank you all for understanding. Now, what you will see here today is the result of 10 months of preparation by an international team-led team. We worked on this voluntarily, and we next to their studies or their PhD work. All of us were very motivated by the sharing platform of TED, as well as of the theme of sustainability and entrepreneurship that underlies this event. This not only goes for the organizing team though, but also for the speakers, of course, and the partners that we especially selected because of their presence in Wageningen and their vision for sustainability. So mind my words, without all of these people, this event and platform would not have been possible. And I would like to sincerely thank all of them for participating in this challenging endeavor. Now today you will see 12 speakers who will tell their story, their passions, and their ideas. They will share this with you and a global audience worldwide by all the cameras around. The perk of being here today is that you can share these ideas with the people around you immediately. And I strongly encourage you to do so. For this, I will put you up with a task of 3 questions. First of all, what does sustainability mean? Why do you personally need sustainability? And how can you become more sustainable tomorrow? The ingredients of these answers might be coming from the stage today, but also might be sitting right next to you. So now, without further ado, I would like to ask the Mayor of Wageningen, Geert van Roemond, to open this event in the theater of UNISOF. Please give him a warm applause. Here's the Mayor.
Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to TEDxWageningen University. With great pleasure, I have just revealed the famous red dot, this one, on which various speakers will be discussing today on the theme, the Green Wave. I congratulate Michiel Voskamp and his great team of organizers who have worked hard to push this event in the spotlights. Today's theme symbolizes that everyone can deal with sustainability, that this is necessary and that it is inspiring and brings out a positive feeling. A theme that fits perfectly in Wageningen. Of course, we have the world-famous Wageningen University that is involved in improving the quality of life in all kinds of areas. But also outside the university, there are many residents who are involved in sustainability in all kinds of areas. Often very small-scaled and local, but those initiatives are very important to contribute to raising awareness. In this context, I'm proud that Wageningen was declared the greenest city in the Netherlands at the end of September during the Entente Florale. This award is a huge compliment to all people and organizations in Wageningen who are promoting green, nature and landscape. And with this first prize, the municipality and the green organizations are praised for the cooperation that is being sought on many green topics. This ensures good results, such as neighborhood gardens, joint ecological management of verge lawns and playing fields. But the world is bigger than Wageningen, and the world is bigger than the Netherlands. For a sustainable world, it's important that everyone contributes. In the Netherlands, we sometimes think that there are some areas in the world that have something else on their mind. But I myself have recently noticed that this is shifting. Last month, I was visiting Nepal. I'm a board member of a foundation that supports a nunnery in the Mustang area. In Nepal, I was pleasantly surprised to discover that sustainability was also put on the agenda there. For example, in the capital Kathmandu, no cars older than 5 years can drive around. Various cities are concerned about waste management, and there is a separate waste collection. There are large billboards to warn against air pollution, and recently several mayors came together to join forces in the fight against pollution. As an outsider, it is difficult to estimate whether the measures have an effect. But the fact that in a poor country like Nepal, sustainability and the fight against air pollution and waste are on the agenda makes me hopeful. And I certainly noticed one effect. Contrary to my previous visits, This year, the mountain tops of the Himalayas were visible from within Kathmandu. The smog was not present at that time. At this time. Last time I was there 6 years ago, it was. With this hopeful message, I wish you an inspiring day today, full examples of how we can all contribute to sustainability. And unfortunately, due to other obligations, and two of my colleagues are there and have the same obligations, I'm unable to stand and listen to the stories, but I'm sure that the results of the stories will reach me on a different way. And finally, I express the hope that the TEDxWageningen event will also be sustainable, and that this event today will be the start of a long, long tradition. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I get 2 now. Lovely meeting you. Yeah, I know. Double the trouble.
Yeah.
I know, it's great. Who wants a microphone? I'll get, wait, bear with. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Now you are at my hands. Thank you. Excellent work for the person who clapped. We'll try that again. Wait. Clap, 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 clap. I'm not sure what we're going to do with this, but this should be fun. So I think before it's how long? Oh gosh, it's 9:45. That's early for me. So I think, how are you feeling? Are you feeling very awake? There was a very resounding no at the start there. That was a serious no. That was a no. Who's not feeling terribly awake? It was that direction. Don't worry, I'll wake you up now. So first off, I think we should get to know each other a little bit. Because I'm curious who's here today. So would you please stand up if you're a student? Apparently the middle is dominated by students. All right, not so bad. Okay, sit down again. This is going to be fun with these folding chairs. It's going to be a game to see who falls down first. Okay, stand up if you're not a student. I know, this is going to happen for a while. Get used to it. Oh, it's about 50-50. That's pretty good. Okay, you can sit down again. Stand up if you're Dutch. A good percentage of Dutchies here today, which I suppose is to be expected from the Netherlands. All right, sit down. Now we're going to go on a quest to find out who's the most exotic person in this room. All right? So stand up if you're not Dutch. All right, if you are European, you may sit down. Ooh, it's getting interesting. All right. Let's see, what places are considered exotic? I think we'll take out North America. All right, North Americans, you may sit down. Those are 2 of them. All right. Okay, so if you think you're from the most exotic place around, give us a shout out from your country. Mexico, that's a good shout. That's pretty, but by Wageningen standards, that's not so exotic. But I appreciate, there's quite a Mexican community here. There's lots of you. All right, Mexico, I like that. Who else do we have? China, another great shout out. Also by Wageningen standards, not so impressive. Where else do we have? Colombia, that's a good one. Excellent, Colombia's a good one, I like that. Anywhere else? Egypt. Oh yes, that's exotic. I like, what brings you to Wageningen? You came for the event. Oh, you just came for me. You're like, Emma Holmes is presenting, that's the place I want to be. Welcome, welcome. All the way from Egypt you came today. Well, not today, obviously. You came last year and you were like, yep, I'll stay for that event. TEDxWageningen in November 2018. You're forward thinking, my friend, forward thinking. All right, anywhere else? Japan. Oh, I think you win. That's an excellent shout out. Anywhere else? Oh, Australia. This is very exotic. I know Honduras is here as well, which is like no one's ever heard of. Honduras is somewhere in Latin America, so that's also exotic. Okay, we've got Japan and Australia. I think these are winning. Anyone else want to make a shout? Indonesia is also, but again, by Wageningen standards. Although but you really wanted to win, so now I want to give it to you. There was enthusiasm. I'll take that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you may sit down. Well, give yourselves a round of applause. All right. Japan, what brings you here? Did you also come a year early? Yes. Sorry? You're a master's student. What are you studying? Forest and nature conservation. A great country for forest and nature conservation. They have lots of forests, by some standards. It's all a bit, okay, very nice. And Cairo, where's my Egyptian? Where is she? Very good. You're right at the back. You're like, I don't want to be close up. She might talk to me. And now, but I have a microphone. I can walk around. It's so exciting. So were you studying here as well? Oh, exotic. I think a student from Amsterdam. Is there any students here who are not from Wageningen? Oh, stand up. Make yourselves known. We do big and bold in this room. Oh, there's quite a few of you. All right, let's find the most exotic university. All right, who thinks they have the most exotic university? Amsterdam is the only thing so far, so it's quite easy to beat. Leiden, that's more exotic than Amsterdam, I agree. Where are you from in the back, you two? Amsterdam as well? Assault. You came from the University of Assault. That doesn't sound promising. What do you study there? Pardon? Social work. Excellent. That's a very noble job. Well done. All right, I think Assault wins. How do you say it again? Hasselt. With a H? Happy Hasselt. It's a happy Assault. No, we're not going down that route. You may sit down, thank you. That was not a very exotic list of universities, but okay, I'll accept it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, before we start with our first speaker today, I think we should get to know each other now. I now know all of you, personally. And now I think you should get to know each other a little bit. So I'm going to ask you to stand up once more, because together today we shall embarrass each other, because that's how it works. So would you please raise your arms in the air and wiggle your fingers about? And wiggle them about, and wiggle them about, and wiggle them about. And now I'd like you to face this direction over here. You can all see me. And keep wiggling those fingers, keep wiggling them, just keep going, bear with. And slowly, centrally, lower the hands onto the shoulders of the person in front of you and give them a massage. Go, off you go. Keep massaging. Massage, massage, massage. Keep going. It's got to be borderline awkward or this will not work. Keep massaging, keep going. Social awkwardness is a part of getting to know each other. And so you continue to make it nice and deep and sensual massage, enjoying the company of these strangers, and in deep into the muscles. And at this point, it's so borderline awkward that you're going to have to introduce yourself to the person sitting next to you. And then raise your arms in the air and do the same on the other side. And then get to know this person over here. So much going on. And that's it, nice and awkward. And now it's so borderline socially awkward that you're going to have to introduce yourselves. But we will leave that for the break, where you can go up, hi, I was the person massaging your back. Did you enjoy it? We're not giving you a round of applause. You can sit down. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so introduce yourselves. Have a chat. It's like my favorite exercise. Where do you come from? A noble job. Let's make him as embarrassed as possible. And off he goes again. Oh, yeah. Excellent work. All right, I think before we start, we have a few more minutes before we begin. Now, you've all seen the schedule? No. Okay, I'm here for something. I'm not sure what. There will be 11 talks today from different speakers, all about the Green Wave event. It's going to be very, very exciting. There's going to be a lot of cool stories. But to get you ready for these stories, I feel like we need to be emotionally available. Something I'd know a lot about. I'm a stand-up comedian. They're famously emotionally available. So what's going to happen here is I'm going to test your emotions a little bit. Yeah, if you thought the rest was awkward. We ain't starting yet. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's just test these emotions. So if I was to ask you to make the noise of happiness, you would do... Okay, now really happy. Excellent. Okay, now sad. Okay, now like One Direction broke up sad. Exactly, it always leads to some interesting responses. Okay, angry? It's the most Dutch anger. Like, rawr. No, like proper angry, like Donald Trump was elected. Better. All right, what other emotions are we? Surprised? Excellent. Now, like, really surprised. Oh, yes. Great. Okay, yeah, that would do. Now, this side of the room. Okay, you guys here, you're going to be surprised. Tested? Excellent. This middle part of the room, you're going to be anger. Ooh, solid. And you guys are going to be happiness. There's some work. Let's test them again. It's not trustworthy. Happiness? Okay, excellent. Now, so you all know your parts. So, round of applause. It doesn't matter how many times I do that at conferences, it never gets old. Because you've never seen a lot of people in business suits go, what, I have to make noises? It's great. All right, ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for your first speaker today? I can feel it. Are you ready for your first speaker? All right, ladies and gentlemen, will you please welcome to stage with the biggest possible round of applause, sustainable lifestyle expert and author, Marika Icecoat.
I'm going to speak through your microphone because
You're gonna speak through my
I'd love to start, but it doesn't work yet.
Oh, wait, we have to strip.
Oh, are we stripping?
We're stripping.
Is that what
We
we're
have to
doing?
do this. Let's do it on the spotlight.
Okay.
Let's make it as awkward as possible.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
You need my microphone.
But can you hear me through this one, though? So it's actually working. Was that your magic?
Wait, try again.
Shall I
Speak.
Hello? Hello.
All right,
Good.
off you
So
go. I'll
just
invite you
gonna-
again.
I'll do it again. You haven't seen me, right?
Excuse me while I get dressed.
Can't you not?
Right, let's have. Sorry if I embarrassed all of you, and now I get to go undress on stage. It's been a
It's
solid couple of hours this
Wonderful.
morning, in my opinion. Right, ladies and gentlemen.
Come on.
She's still going in the background there. Behave yourself.
I know.
Or
But I'm like almost naked.
this is the time for your voiceover.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome to stage, with the biggest possible round of applause, sustainable lifestyle expert and author, Marika Icecoat. Thank you.
The most unfair thing that ever happened to me took place on May 7th, 1977 at 3:31. I was born here. Well, not exactly here, but in the Netherlands, not in, for instance, Bangladesh. I arrived in this wealthy part of the world by coincidence, with a healthy economy, a good climate, human rights, workers' rights, women's rights, democracy, and I didn't do anything to earn all of that. I simply had it handed to me. And so I don't have more right to it than anyone else. I don't deserve it more. I just as well could have ended up in an Asian village somewhere, sewing our jeans or producing our sneakers or shampoo. I happen to know a few of the people who actually do these things, and they are quite crucial for our lives. I mean, I, for one, am quite happy clothes exist at this particular moment. I've been working in sustainable fashion and lifestyle for over 15 years and have been lucky enough to travel to countries such as Thailand, Turkey, Bulgaria, to visit factories and meet with workers. I spoke, for instance, with Romana, a single mum of a 5-year-old daughter in Dhaka, Bangladesh. She produces jeans for the Western market and has to work extremely long hours for an extremely low wage. We discussed love and life, and also what she would do if she ever were to earn a good salary. Her number one wish was for a daughter to go to school and to become a doctor and to break the cycle of low-income, uneducated jobs. I, of course, fully understood, but I pressed on because I really wanted to know what her dreams are, what she would choose for herself. I could sense she knew, but was hesitant to tell me. Go on, I said, it's only the two of us. She leaned forward slightly, her eyes gleaming. Earrings, she said. Earrings? I immediately felt some judgment, but quickly understood. Of course, she is exactly the same as I am. We are similar. We all want the same things. We just live in vastly different circumstances. For us, we don't think twice to instantly buy a pair of earrings we like. For her, this is her idea of freedom. The people who make our clothes really exist. And every seam connects their hands and your skin. We wear their stories around, everywhere, all the time. Like now. How is it possible that these people are being exploited to facilitate our lifestyle? For our jeans and earrings. Unbelievable that we allow our stuff to be produced elsewhere in a way that will be completely unacceptable here. Why is it okay for them, but not for us? And why is it even legal to make a profit by exploiting people and our planet? We feel rich when we can afford lots of cheap products, but actually it makes us poorer. That something's cheap doesn't mean it doesn't cost much, but that someone other than you is paying the price. And we all suffer from this. Pollution, lesser quality, and a negative self-image. Because really, we are being used just as well. When I was born, I was also born into a society that commercializes our body and soul. We are all perfect. There is nothing to be ashamed of. We are okay just the way we are. We're all human. We all have a shape. We all have a color. We all have flaws. Nothing you buy can increase your self-love and self-worth. That is entirely ours. The regular fashion, accessories, beauty, gadgets, sports, diet industries beg to differ. We are not good enough. You're not beautiful enough. Your skin isn't glowing or smooth or the right shade. You're not skinny enough. You don't wear the right clothes. You're not on trend. You don't look like the model, which is actually impossible anyway, as almost without exception, they are very slim, young, tall, and white. The ideal we have to live up to in the lifestyle industry is ridiculously limited. In short, you don't look like you're supposed to look. Only when you buy will you belong. Much of the messaging is specifically intended to make us feel bad about ourselves, so then offer us the solution, their products. We know it doesn't work, and yet we keep trying. And so we're not only talked into having a problem and offered a solution that doesn't work, we're also lured, sort of tricked into incessantly buying more and more, which makes it almost impossible to become truly sustainable. People are getting rich thanks to our low self-esteem, our doubts and insecurities, and the world suffers. This commercialization of our body image lies at the heart of our struggle to change our behavior. As long as you don't like yourself, it's okay, because then you remain vulnerable for the idea that you can fix this by shopping. We need to actively recognize and resist the way the industry makes us feel, to both save ourselves and the planet, because the pressure on our looks not only affects our happiness, our mental well-being, but also how sustainably we can act. I try to fight this. 90% of the time I only use lipstick because I like the way it brightens up my face. But no blusher or primer or eyebrow pencil or it bag or stiletto heels. I try to accept myself the way I am. But it's hard. It's really not that easy. Luckily, I've got great examples. Alicia Keys, for instance, a real hero. A while ago, she decided to stop using makeup because she no longer wanted to feel insecure or hide behind a mask. She now feels more liberated, more powerful than ever. And of course, you can think, okay, hello, Alicia Keys, beautiful. And you'd be right. But without the products, she looks very different to the Alicia Keys you're used to. Still beautiful. And so are you. And so am I. Even if I don't always shave my armpits. Because that really just doesn't feel right to me. Those hairs, they grow there, they belong there. Why should they go? I actually quite like the look of them, if I'm honest. I find it rather sexy. And even more importantly, why should women remove them and not men? Yet, sometimes I'll put on a shirt with sleeves when I actually rather wanted to wear one without. Because I don't want to embarrass my partner, because I don't want to be labeled an activist, or simply because I just don't dare. And then I'm not really free. Because this part of my body only needs to be erased, to be deleted, to sell hair removal products. Which, by the way, are more expensive often for women than for men. Because of the so-called pink tax, women are more expected to look a certain way and therefore will have to buy the products needed to achieve that. Now, of course, the way we are being used cannot be compared by the way workers suffered and suffer. But don't think you are being treated fairly. And if it made us feel good, but now everyone's unhappy, from the people who produce our stuff to the people who purchase them, all caught in a web of as much as possible, as fast as possible, for as little as possible. Only to gain. But we lose. Fairness, freedom, inclusiveness, self-esteem. We're probably not here for the sole purpose of a six-pack or a thigh gap or a perfect outfit. Or to be skinny or curvy or fit or white. I mean, this ever-changing ideal historically was aimed mostly at women, but increasingly men sort of feel this burden as well as everyone who doesn't want to be labeled. Let's take back our beauty, our independence, and demand diversity. And the sustainable movement has a huge opportunity to take this lead. When I was compiling images from brands for my sustainable handbook, I wanted to make it as diverse as possible. That wasn't as easy as I thought it would be. I was sent quite some photo shoots with models from different backgrounds, which was great, but in terms of body size, there's still very little variety. So my own book doesn't really represent myself, because my shape really isn't in there. Now, of course, I fully understand that sustainable brands want to show that they are exactly the same as regular ones, that you don't get anything less. But here, it's actually a good thing to be different, to show how stylish all sizes, all shapes, all colors, all ages can be. And there are some great examples of that already. It's time to make a change, and the sustainable brands can direct us towards a new system where we're all being celebrated, included instead of excluded, and where products are offered that we buy when we actually need them and that will make us feel better. Of course, we customers can do a lot ourselves as well. Every time you buy something, you actually say to the store or to the brand, I love what you're doing. Please take my money to continue. Choose from brands who treat all of us, from the worker to the wearer, with respect. Because every small step, every action can have a huge effect. You can have as much impact as a drop of ink transforming the color of an entire jug of water. We made this world, so we can change it as well. Who else? Let's try and be less tempted to always want more, different, improved. Be aware of the message and how it makes you feel. Let your voice be heard and take back your freedom. You are okay. Being able to be yourself and to not suffer from oppression, exploitation, or a limiting ideal picture should apply to everyone, here or there. We're all one. This is the new green wave. Doing good, looking good, and feeling great at the same time. Thank you.
Another round of applause for Marika. Very, very powerful message there indeed. Look, we have a little bit of extra time because there's a few technical difficulties. That means that the next people are getting ready backstage. So I'm kind of curious, like, this is all about the green wave, right? So about sustainability, and Marika's brought up a lot of very interesting points. What do you classify as sustainability? What is your definition of it? Shout out some words. I am clearly a sustainability expert. You're like, you could be. Fair enough. What would you classify as sustainability? Making the world a better place. Great shout out. Anything else? Everyone's like, nope, that's an excellent definition. Say sound with nature? Very good. Yes, I agree. All right. Anything else? Limiting your impact. Presumably, yeah, green-wise. Or red-wise. What would be the opposite of green? This is a very difficult conversation. Yeah, right? Yeah, it would be. Okay, you're limiting your impact. Anything else? Long-term solutions for? That throws people off. It's like long-term solutions for, wait, what? Another question? Survival. That's a good shout out, indeed. I think that's going to come up a lot today, the future of the world. All right, okay, very good. Oh, look, an animation. I think, is that supposed to be, it's a wave. Just got it. All right, oh, how are we doing back here? We're good? Oh, excellent. Very good. Okay, for this next one, we're going to test something new. We'll do a test run first. So we're going to do something called, now I can't say the usual name I call it because that's too rude. So we're going to call it a climax clap. You can imagine what it's originally called. So what's going to happen here is we're going to do like a wave of noise, okay? So when I put my hand over here, you guys are going to make a little bit of noise. When we get over here, you guys are going to make a lot of noise. And by the time we get over here, everyone's going to make a lot of noise. So we do a test run. So, da-da-da. There's no shrieking and shouting. I feel no enthusiasm here. We'll try again. Ready? Oh, excellent. You in particular. You were stunning there with your both feet going at the same time. Amazing. Right, now keep that for later. That will be useful another time. I'm going to save that up for the right moment. So what's going to happen now, would you please welcome to stage, with the biggest possible round of applause, our next double-barreled TEDx talks. Would you please welcome Hidde Boersma and Joris Lohman.
That's you.
That's me. Well, this is quite a small spot for the both of us, I know.
But we'll fit it.
We'll fit. Hello, my name is Hidde Boersma. I'm a science journalist. And if I look into the future, if I picture my ideal world, I see a world where humanity has concentrated all its activities. Because the denser we live, the more space there is for nature. If I look in the future, I see a world where humanity has set aside half the planet for wildlife. This means that I, for instance, support nuclear energy, because nuclear energy generates the most power per square meter. It also means that I believe in the current urbanization trend. Because at the moment, 3.5 billion people live in cities, and with that, they occupy only 3% of the planet. So the half of the global population lives on only 3% of the planet, which makes it very efficient. And lastly, on agriculture, which as a soil microbiologist is my field of expertise, I believe in intensive agriculture. The more we produce per hectare, again, the more space there is for nature. So I believe in the concept of peak farmland. It means that with all technologies necessary, so I mean genetic modification, robots, vertical farming, we have to make sure that the coming decades we don't convert any more forest to field. So even though there will be 4 billion more people, we have to make sure that we produce their food on the same amount of land as we do now, or preferably even less. I'm what Charles Mann, in his latest book, The Wizard and the Prophet, calls a wizard.
And my name is Joris Lohman. 10 years ago, I founded a movement, a food movement of young people that want to change the food system. Today I run a food education company. In my ideal world, Hidde, people live in harmony with nature. And food is being produced in a beautiful, nature-inclusive farm landscape. I believe that solar and wind are the energy sources of the future. And I think that the relationship between city and the countryside should be reinforced. I think producing enough food for everyone is not so much a technological issue. It's more a socio-economical question. It's about unequal distribution at this moment. I think agroecology and organic farming are very interesting future farming models. I think at the moment we are producing enough food, we're just producing the wrong things. We are producing too much grains to feed livestock. We are producing too much meat and eating too much meat and too little vegetables. I think that in order to sustain ourselves as a future population, we need to respect the Earth's planetary boundaries. So we need to cut back in order to sustain our lives. I'm what Charles Mann, in his latest book, The Wizard and the Prophet, would call a prophet. Charles Mann is an American journalist, and he has been writing about these sustainability topics for years. And he interviewed hundreds of experts in the field about water, energy, food, all these kind of issues. And he realized that after interviewing all these people, the answers that these people give to his questions mainly fit in these two categories. Either you think the solution to change the world and in order to sustain ourselves is to innovate and to create new technologies, the wizards, Hidde. And the other group of people say, no, we need to cut back and we need to respect the Earth's planetary boundaries. And these are the prophets.
And those wizards and those prophets, they really sound like antipodes, like opponents. And that's also how people saw us. Approximately a year ago, when we first met, we were invited by a big company in the agribusiness for a debate, and we were pitted against each other. A wizard versus the prophet. But actually, already before the debate, we found out that, well, we could get along quite well. We have a lot in common. Back then, we both had a beard. We both come from Amsterdam. We even live in the same neighborhood. We have young kids. We are in our 30s. But most important, we share the same goal. We really feel that the current food system has to change to make it more sustainable.
So we started to investigate this polarization. And we're like, it's quite strange because the political lobby groups and political parties and big companies, actually in the core, they probably share a lot of the same goals. They want healthy people, a planet that will sustain itself, but they're fighting each other over this weird polarization. So we didn't really understand how that works. And we think at first, well, this is probably a scientific debate, right? So if there is some fact and I'm not in agreement, I will find another fact, I will find another report to prove that you're wrong. And if I don't have enough facts, then I'll go find some more reports and I'll find more facts.
And we've both been there. We did those debates. For instance, I debated a lot on genetically modified crops, And if I debate these topics, I wave with a report that says every respectable body in the world, I mean the World Health Organization, the National Academy of Science in the United States, and its equivalent also in the Netherlands, they all state GMOs are safe and they cut back the need for pesticides. And if I debated, for instance, the scale of farms, I wave again with a report from last year that says that the Netherlands actually has the most efficient agriculture in the world, and thereby also is the most sustainable country in the world.
Well, and then I go and find my report from another scientific body, and I find that the benefits of genetically modified organisms largely accrue to large seed farms. And that actually at this moment the large majority of the people in the world is being fed by small-scale farming, smallholder farming. And that the large-scale industrialized farming that claims to feed the world is only feeding the rest, and do so by using large amounts of fossil fuels, external inputs, in order to just feed this remaining part of the population.
So, who is right? Well, probably we both are. Because when we dove deeper, we found that this discussion, it isn't about science. It isn't about facts. Everybody can find the facts to fit their narrative. So you pick the scientific papers you like, you trust the scientists you like to trust because they tell your story. Everybody does a little bit of cherry picking. And why do we do this? This is because this discussion is actually about values. Yours and I, we have very different ideas, very different opinions on how the world should be shaped and what the good life is. So take, for instance, food production. Is it backbreaking, like I think it is, which should be done by as few people as possible and preferably fully automated? Or is it actually quite fulfilling, like yours thinks? It's good to be out in the field once every while to make your own food. It gives you autonomy. And what about the concentration of power, for instance, in the seed industry? Is it bad, like yours thinks? Or is it not much of a problem as long as there are no monopolies, like I think? Should humanity live in harmony with nature? Or is it maybe better to turn our back to it and leave it to rest, to save biodiversity, which is what I think?
Well, and the fact that this discussion is about values makes it also very difficult to change. Because facts you can discuss on, but values is something that you incorporate, that you share with your peers, that you share with your community, that you share with the people you hang out with. This is, values form your identity. And values make actually you the person you are. There's one other option, actually. And this is the option that we are both not right. There are a lot of people, increasingly more people, who are saying that it's too late anyway. We're doomed. We don't have enough land. We will need too much energy in order to feed the growing population. It's never going to work out. So, wizard or prophet, it doesn't matter. We're not going to make it anyway. Well, that's something that we really found in common. We're both optimists, and we refuse to accept this glooming scenario. We want to overcome this polarization.
Yeah, because we really found that this polarization, we really need to get over this polarization, but because we are fed up with this constant discussion, constant debating, but because we found out that this polarization actually blocks progress in sustainability. And that's probably best visible in the Common Agricultural Policy, which is the system of European subsidies for farmers in the European Union. It is already in place since 1962, and it takes up 40% of the European budget every year. And every time somebody wants to modernize it, wants to change it, wants to make it more sustainable, it is thwarted by this polarization. Everybody gets their heels in the sand, and you end up with some kind of watered-down compromise where actually nothing changes.
So, this summer, or actually a little bit before, we came together and we made a plan. Hid is a journalist, so he had some entry points at the Dutch newspaper, the Volkskrant, and we decided to write an article about this polarization and about the discussion around it. We interviewed a lot of people, experts in the field, and we wrote this article, and it really made a big impact. There were a lot of people, a lot of responses, and especially also experts in the field were like, yes, this is exactly what I'm experiencing in my daily life, this polarization. I'm very frustrated by it, so it really made a lot of impact. Even to the fact that one day we received a phone call from the ministry, of the minister actually of agriculture, who is at this moment trying to reform the Dutch agriculture system. And she read the article as well, and she recognized very much, she said, yes, This is exactly what is happening in Parliament. This is exactly what is happening in my coalition. And it blocks my progress, and it keeps me from reforming the agricultural system. So she invited us to have another interview in the Volkskrant to discuss this polarization. There we are.
So what can we do to overcome this polarization? Well, the first thing is try to find out on which side are you. Do you feel most comfortable with the story of the wizards, or do you feel most comfortable with the story of the prophets? Are you more a Joris, or are you more a Hidde? And this makes you aware of your own biases. And then if you get into a discussion or into debate, or even if you do, maybe if you do a project, make sure you find out what the other person is. Is he a prophet? Is he a wizard? And then you both are aware of your bias, and from there on you start a conversation, you talk to each other, you listen to each other, and please dare to give in.
And the second thing that you should do is look where you do have common ground. For instance, if we're talking about Hidde and me, we both agree on the potential that modern breeding techniques have. We think that intercropping and introducing natural predators in the field is a very good idea. We think on meat consumption, we need to really do everything that we can to cut back meat consumption and also production. Hidde even thinks it's a good idea to have meat taxation. We also think that it's a very good idea to change our eating habits and to start eating more vegetables and maybe even introducing healthy school lunches, these kind of things. There's a lot of things that you can find common ground on. There's a lot of, there's so much to start on. And thirdly, from now on, we decided that this is going to be our mission. In every project that we do, we will involve both wizards and prophets, because we think from having wizards and prophets working together, new ideas and new innovation and change in the discussion will arise. For instance, in my work in Food Hub, if I do summer schools, if I do education programs, I will make sure that in every program we will talk about this polarization, and we will have wizards and prophets holding fierce debate and finding maybe common ground to progress the discussion. But not only theoretically, also practically. This is a picture of our latest farm innovation project, where we are helping farmers, individual farmers, to innovate their business and to create new value propositions. We do so with an interdisciplinary team of people from all different kind of backgrounds trying to help these farmers. And we will make sure that in all of these projects there will be both wizards and prophets present in order to innovate the farming models. So in order to change the food system, we think we really need a new narrative. We need antipodes like us to work together. Keep on discussing, but working together. There's no time to lose. We need to start working together and overcome this polarization. And we invite you, please, to join our movement. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, lads. Another round of applause for Hidde and Joris. I think I'm Team Hidde just because of his trousers. Weren't they fantastic? He has the most eclectic collection. He was in ones yesterday as well. They're completely different. I don't know where you find your trousers, Hidde, but they're amazing. We're going to have a little video break now. So please join me as we watch a little 5-minute video on behalf of... Oh, so it was described to me as camouflage under the sea, which sounds really cool, but I don't know what it's actually about. So let's watch it.
Water now and look at some creatures that are positively amazing. The cephalopods, headfoots. As a kid, I knew them as calamari mostly, but this is an octopus. This is the work of Dr. Roger Hanlon at the Marine Biological Lab, and just fascinating how cephalopods can, with their eyes, incredible eyes, sense their surrounding, look at light, look at patterns. Here's an octopus moving across the reef, finds a spot to settle down, curls up, and then disappears into the background. Tough thing to do. In the next bit, we're going to see a couple of squid. These are squid. Now, males, when they fight, if they're really aggressive, they turn white. And these two males are fighting. They do it by bouncing their butts together, which is an interesting concept. Now, here's a male on the left.
Like 3 of you. Have you been here long? Is it a year or how long have you been here? 2 months. Oh, so you're brand new. How are you finding the Wageningen lifestyle? Very nice. Did you say very green? Yeah, that's true. I agree. Where do you don't live in Druvendal, do you? Because it's a whole new level of green right there. You take away from it what you wish. So, okay, nice. And let's here. What's your favorite thing? You've been here 2 months. Have a think. What's your favorite thing about the Dutch? I know, it's a question that throws. Oh, now the power really has got off. Oh, it's back? Well, we were having a great conversation. Yeah, well, we'll keep talking. So, what's your favorite? Have a think about it, and we'll talk about it after the octopus. Nope, he's not there anyway. This is exactly what I had planned for today. Yes, he's camouflaging as TEDxWageningenUniversity. To be honest, I was kind of like listening to the voiceover going, yes, he gets up in the morning and then cozies in and disappears. I was like, that's my life. That's what I intend to do. Have you seen this lovely sign over here? Now, does anyone know of a TEDx event that has a longer name than this one? Because it's ridiculously TEDxWageningenUniversity. I don't know, the board has just been adding things to it. Like, we're like TEDx Verb, but they wouldn't have it. The power's still off? Oh, you're working on it. Excellent. Congratulations, boys. 10 seconds. 1. Dun, 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 dun. Shall I go away again? I guess so. Coming back to you, Japan.
Water now, and look at some creatures that are positively amazing. The cephalopods, headfoots. As a kid, I knew them as calamari mostly, but this is an octopus. This is the work of Dr. Roger Hanlon at the Marine Biological Lab, and just fascinating how cephalopods can, with their eyes, incredible eyes, sense their surrounding, look at light, look at patterns. Here's an octopus moving across the reef, finds a spot to settle down, curls up, and then disappears into the background. Tough thing to do. In the next bit, we're going to see a couple of squid. These are squid. Now, males, when they fight, if they're really aggressive, they turn white. And these 2 males are fighting. They do it by bouncing their butts together, which is an interesting concept. Now, here's a male on the left and a female on the right. And now the male has managed to split his coloration so that the female only always sees the kinder, gentler squid in him. And the males on the we're going to see it again. Let's take a look at it again. Watch the coloration. White on the right, brown on the left. He takes a step back, so he's keeping off the other males by splitting his body, and he comes up on the other side. Bingo. Now, I'm told that's not just a squid phenomenon with males, but I don't know if that's true. Cuttlefish. I love cuttlefish. This is a giant Australian cuttlefish, and there he is, his droopy little eyes up here. But they could do pretty amazing things too. Here we're going to see one backing into crevice, and watch his tentacles. He just pulls them in, makes them look just like algae. In the next scene, you're going to see a nice coral bottom, and you see that an octopus would stand out very easily there if you couldn't use your camouflage, use your skin to change color and texture. There's some algae in the foreground, and an octopus. Isn't that amazing? Now Roger spooked him, so he took off, a cloud of ink, lands, and when he lands, the octopus says, "Okay, I've been seen, best thing to do is get as big as I can get." That big brown makes his eye spot very big, so he's bluffing. Let's do it backwards. I thought he was joking when he first showed it to me. I thought it was all graphics. So here it is in reverse. Watch the skin color, watch the skin texture. Just an amazing animal, can change color and texture to match the surroundings. Watch him blend right into this algae. 1, 2, 3.
And we're done. Round of applause for the video. I was getting quite fascinated by that. So it was like, ooh. Like, you know, you see yourself, you compare yourself to other people, you're like, I should be doing better in my life. And I was looking at this octopus going, I really should be doing better in my life. I can't even do that. That's fascinating. All right, Japan, did you have a think? What's your name, love? Misaki. Pardon? Misaki. Misaki. All right. Misaki, did you have a think? What's your favorite thing about the Dutch? I heard something very different. What did you say again? Okay, yeah. You say beer contest. I heard ear condoms, which is very different. I was like, that's an interesting approach to it. And this is being live streamed. This is a terrible. Why do they let me do these things? Oh goodness! Yes, the beer contests are an excellent choice of Dutch culture right there. Rijksmuseum beer contest. It's a fine line. I would have also gone beer contest. All right, ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for your last speaker before the break? And then we can have some coffee. Yes? Excellent. All right. So, would you please welcome the stage with a very big and enthusiastic applause? You please welcome the artist and designer, Charlie Williams.
Never give up. Believe in your dream. Give whatever it takes. Pick yourself up and try again. Our society, our teachers, our parents, our friends, our motivational posters, all tell us that the recipe for success, for a happy life, is simple. First, identify your passion, the thing you feel most strongly about in the world. Then, work as hard as you can until you succeed. But my experience has told me that we don't really know what our interests, our passions mean in practice until we've tried them. Tried them in a serious way that takes dedication and commitment, and that inevitably leads to those activities becoming part of our identity. This makes it very difficult to take an objective look at what we're doing, remember why we started doing it, and decide whether to keep going or change direction. Let me give you an example from my life. In 2001, I was starting my career as a classical pianist. I'd left my hometown in the American Midwest to attend Northwestern University near Chicago. There I worked very hard and won the university's concerto competition. From there I went to Russia to compete in the International Shostakovich competition, where I won a prize for new music performing American composer Frederic Rzewski's piano piece No. 4. Now, at this point, the conventional wisdom would have said, you're onto something. Keep going. But I had a problem. Having started to break into this field, I now had a better idea of what success looked like. I knew that to keep going, to find success, would be to mostly continue to be alone in practice rooms or else alone on stage. Now, to me, that wasn't worth it. That success didn't match up with the reasons why I had started down this path. I wanted to find human connection. I wanted to engage with big ideas. I wanted to do things with other people, to work as part of a team to create something bigger than myself. And so I quit. Now, it was difficult. You know, people say, oh, a concert pianist. That's a sort of bar in people's minds. You know, oh, he's a concert pianist. It has a ring to it. I had to give up on that identity in order to find out what I was doing next. In order to quit, in other words, it wasn't just a matter of stopping practicing or performing. I had to quit thinking of myself as a pianist at all. I took some time off. I traveled. Through a series of coincidences, I auditioned twice to play keyboards for a pretty well-known pop band. That didn't work out. I started my own band. I had been writing music and figured this would be a good way to spread my musical ideas. And it worked up to a point. I managed to attract and play with some really incredible musicians. But the band struggled because I hadn't developed my leadership skills. I could get some people into a room, sure, but from there, a band leader needs to have this special magic that makes everyone feel included in the most exciting project specifically suited for their talents. And I didn't know anything about how to do that. So I quit. Now, I was also interested in writing film music, and I still held out hope for some kind of academic career. So I took a job teaching music technology for a film scoring program at Columbia College in Chicago. Re-entering the academic world felt wonderful. And the program was great. Lots of alumni have gone on to do amazing work in Hollywood. And for a few years, it was great for me too, but at a certain point, it became like this holding pattern where I wasn't actually a film composer, and I wasn't really doing serious academic work either. So I quit and moved to England. I was getting serious. There, I continued to write music. Mostly I wrote for mostly I wrote for piano plus some sort of technical element like electronic audio processing or algorithmic video projection. As I wrote piece after piece, my ideas progressed and that technical element developed more and more to the point where I had to learn to write my own code in order to do what I wanted to do artistically. Now, up until that point, it had been very important to me that I make my living as a musician. I performed, I taught, I played weddings, I did whatever came up, but one way or another, all of my income came from being a musician, and I was very proud of that. Until it got a bit old. Always chasing the next gig, always promoting myself. I found myself thinking, you know, this code I'm writing, I hear they pay people to do that. So I quit being a composer. I got a master's degree and I started working for Shazam, the music identification app, as a developer. There I created the animation where the app reacts visually to the music you're listening to as it identifies the title and artist of the track. Just after we released it, that screen was featured by Apple in an iPhone ad, and in all, that very first professional software development work I ever did was held in the hands of a few 100 million people. That was mind-blowing to me. I learned an incredible amount about software development, and I'm proud of the work I did on that team. You can't give up on art that easily, though. I found myself wanting to create on my own terms again, so I quit Shazam. I made my own app, a bit like Tinder, but just for cuddling. It was called Cuddler. When it came out, it got a lot of media attention and a lot of downloads, but before we could connect with investors willing to take the plunge and think outside the box with us on intimacy, we ran out of money. So I quit that too. We shut down the app and later sold off the company. Now, at this point, you might be wondering, is there anything this guy won't quit? Does he just run away as soon as the going gets tough? I think it's interesting, though, looking back at the point when I decided to quit each of these things. I wasn't quitting because it was too hard. I wasn't quitting because I'd failed. Sometimes it was an objective realization that something wasn't working out. Often, though, I'd quit just after achieving a big goal I'd had for myself, like winning a competition or shipping an app. In each case, though, I came to a decision point, and in pursuing my original goal, I'd learned some things that let me see that goal in a new light, and that told me it was time to let go and let something new develop in turn. It's easy to let success be like guardrails, keeping us fixed on the road we've chosen. We work hard, we get a little bit of success, and it feels like the only option is to keep going, work harder, keep chasing more of that success. And if what you're doing right now feels like the truest possible expression of yourself, don't let me get in your way. Keep going with that. But to me, it didn't feel that way. And it was the scariest, hardest thing I could do to quit and make space for something else. You might be wondering what I'm doing now. I came here to Wageningen this summer to collaborate with researchers on creating a scientifically inspired visual artwork. It's based on something in biology called mycorrhizae, which are like the internet of plants, so these symbiotic underground fungal pathways connecting trees in a forest and allowing them to communicate and share resources with each other. Drawing on these ideas, I created a network of biologically inspired circuits, each one a tiny computer that blink and pulse patterns of light. They're connected in a mesh network and communicate so that when one mutates its pattern, its neighbors can pick up on that, and so you see behaviors emerge and migrate across the colony. Each one has a circadian rhythm. So it's like the thing that tells your body to be awake in the day and asleep at night. So during the day, they move faster, they use brighter and warmer colors, and then switch to cooler, dimmer colors and slower movements at night. And the whole thing has no musical element. None. This idea and process feel, to me, like the truest expression yet of what I can do, what ideas I can engage with, what I can create, what I can offer the world. And I wouldn't have gotten here without quitting. Time and time again, letting go of something that wasn't quite right in order to make space for something that was not perfect, but a bit more right. It was only by letting go of my identity as a musician that I could come to this identity as an artist. Only by finding the courage to give up on something central to myself could I make space for something new to grow. And none of it was wasted time. I used my piano skills to play in bands. I used my experience writing accessible new music to score films. I used my music technology experience to learn to code and then used my coding experience to create circuit art. Each thing fed into the next, even when I was radically shifting who I was and what I was doing. So is this it? Is this the end point of my journey? Have I arrived at the thing I'll never quit? The true, honest answer is, I have no idea. It's possible, but even if I keep pursuing this for the rest of my life, I'll always be looking for elements of my identity I can let go of, looking to make space for new growth. And to me, we can all be doing that. Ask yourself, can you let go of your identity as a meat eater, as a vegan? Can you let go of your identity as a consumer, as a world traveler, as a VIP? Maybe it's something as simple as being the person who's always nice. Maybe it's having a fancy title that commands respect. Ask yourself, what's holding you back from connection? What's holding you back from growth? As for me, I can't wait to see what I'm going to quit next. Thank you. Hey, cheers.
Another round of applause for Charlie! There's a very important message shared there that I totally agree with. I was a food technologist. Now look at me. It's going totally according to plan once again. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have a short break now for some coffee and tea and, you know, the good stuff. So I'm going to ask you to be back here in this room at 11:10. We'll be starting again at 11:10. Please enjoy the little break, get some fresh air, get some coffee, all that kind of thing. I see you very shortly.